Jiri Procházka, one of the most chaotic fighters currently in the UFC. His fight style resembles that of a prime Tony Ferguson, very free-flowing, doesn't care, reckless abandon. He is throwing everything at you, and the kitchen sink if you could. He is a remarkable instinctual fighter and appears to have almost zero structure to the way in which he fights. He will throw anything. He will throw a knee, he will throw an elbow in the most unexpected way. Then there's Alex, the man whose rise to the UFC ranks included dethroning a very dominant middleweight champion in Israel Adesanya. He was the very first glory kickboxer to hold two belts at the same time. And his ability as a striker is very well documented. He's a very well accomplished kickboxer. The UFC 295 main event has the makings of a fight of the year contender, KO of the year, fight of the night, put up the prize, anything. This fight is going to have a bonus attached to it. One of these fighters is leaving that octagon with the belt and a bonus. I do not see the fight going the full 5 rounds. I do not see a universe in which this fight does not end in a stoppage. Jiri has not lost a fight since December 2015, which was against King Mo, by the way. And Alex is very well known for his KO power, and he looks extremely impressive in his fight against Jan Blachowicz. Jiri has a very unstructured, free-flowing way to the way in which he fights. He doesn't seem to approach things in a very conventional manner, which is the complete contrast to the way in which Alex fights. Now, Jiri does have a very rhythmic flow in the way in which he fights. He obviously has tendencies. Everybody has tendencies. And one of the main things that Jiri does is he has this rhythmic swaying motion back and forth that he has when he fights. And this leaves him exposed to straight attacks right up the middle, whether it's a teep kick, knee, a jab, and also he's very susceptible to leg kicks. Now, this is not something that we have seen being exploited by anybody so far in his fights. We saw against Volkan Ozdemir, who threw a couple leg kicks, but there does seem to be something there. The thing is, we have seen Alex exploit leg kicks quite often. He did it against Izzy, he did it against Jan, he did it against Sean. He's done it in every single fight that he's fought thus far. He's going to look for the leg kick. And the question is then going to be, how does Jiri deal with the leg kicks? How does he check leg kicks? Does he throw any back? These are the questions that we're going to get an answer to. Having looked at the other fights that Jiri has had, granted there isn't a lot of tape in the UFC, but looking at his other fights, he does have a tendency to square up quite a bit whenever he throws a flurry of punches. It's also worth noting that he definitely favors a cross whenever he throws. Instead of a jab cross, he always starts with the cross. Most of the time he starts with the cross. So this is something that is going to be interesting. And he has a very high tendency of throwing a flurry of punches as he rushes his opponent. We saw him do it against Glover. We saw him do it against Reyes. This is something that he does quite often. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Alex deals with this. We saw Bruno Silva do it against Alex, and Alex was able to frame and use his footwork to get out of the line of attack, and he dealt with it quite well. The problem, though, is Alex does get caught. He does get caught quite a bit. So it's going to be interesting to see how Alex deals with the rushing and the flurry of punches that Jiri throws. The main thing for Jiri will be his ability to use unorthodox attacks to try and unsettle Alex. Also the pace that he puts on guys. We saw him do it against Reyes where they would exchange, they would trade, but he just kept coming and Reyes wasn't able to get him out of there. We have to remember that Reyes is a very powerful striker. He has a lot of power in those hands, and yet he wasn't able to get him out of there. So the pace that he puts on Alex is going to be important. He needs to make sure that he keeps a very high pace. Jiri has only fought 3 times in the UFC so far. He's been on the winning side of all 3 fights. Against Volkan, he knocked him out. Reyes, he knocked him out. And even when he was losing against Clover, he still found a way to finish the fight. His ability to finish fights has been incredible so far. So much so that he has not lost a fight since September 2016, which is an absolutely insane record to have. It's going to be interesting to see how he handles another title fight. This is his 2nd title fight, but it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it. He's already got the taste of being a champion. We'll see what he brings up. Alex, on the other hand, is a very conventional fighter. He is talented, extremely skilled, conventional kickboxer. He likes to mix up his attacks, but none of the attacks that he throws are without reason. There's an efficiency to the way in which he strikes. Each strike is used to set up a different attack. Each strike is a setup for something that will come later. Alex likes the jab to the body, and he uses that quite often. He also likes utilizing the leg kicks to slow down his opponents, and he will do this frequently. He will jab to the body, he'll throw a leg kick, he'll throw a roundhouse to the top, throw a leg kick, he'll jab to the body. This is something that he does often, and he does it consistently. We saw in the Izzy Adesanya fight how he was able to utilize the leg kicks to hamper Izzy's movement, and that helped him get the job done. Unlike Jiri, Pereira does not fight at a crazy pace. He is very methodical in his approach. He is very even-tempoed. So it's going to be interesting to see how the two very contrasting styles match up against each other. It's also going to be interesting to see how Alex handles the power of Jiri. Alex does have a tendency to get caught quite often with clean punches. We saw him get hurt against Izzy with the exact same punch in both fights. Fight 1 and fight 2, same punch ended it. And he always seems to have this weakness of keeping his hands down. He holds his hands like they are sledgehammers whenever his opponent is hurt, or whenever he feels like he could get the fight finished. And we saw Izzy exploit this in the 2nd fight. And if Jiri has been paying attention, this might be something that he might be able to exploit. Like I mentioned earlier, Jiri does not go away. Unless you knock him out, Jiri is going to be there to stay. So the key is going to be Alex's ability to not have a reckless approach to the fight, especially when his opponent is hurt or whenever he feels like there's an opportunity to end the fight. He needs to stay disciplined. He needs to keep his defense up. Alex doesn't have the best defensive system. His offense is way better than his defense, and we're going to see if he's able to keep himself safe on Saturday. Now, with that being said, Alex has been on an insane trajectory. It's taken him 3 fights to get to fight the champ of the middleweight, which he won, by the way. And now, after 5 fights, he could become a champion in 2 different weight classes. The fight is an absolutely insane fight. It is like a mad scientist versus a surgeon, or pure technique versus reckless abandon, a ballet dancer versus a break dancer, an architect versus a street artist. Both fighters are absolutely incredible in their own right, but on Saturday we get to see who is king of the hill, at least for the time being. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the content, please share, like, and subscribe. Hop in the comments and let us know what you think. Until the next one, this has been Casual Takes.